Do you know what I'm thinking this morning, ladies and gentlemen? Right off the get-go, I'm thinking this video recording is a bad idea. Why do I say that? Excuse me, I'm downstairs in my studio where I tie my flies and I broadcast and where my little Mac Mini's at, and I'm doing this recording. Man, I hate it when I get a frog in my throat. I'm doing this recording with my webcam, which is only a 2-megapixel Logitech cam. It's really old and it only does standard ratio, and I'm probably going to try to convert it into 16:9, and everything's going to be pixelated and fuzzed up and everything. But the subject is, ladies and gentlemen, cameras, especially harsh environment cameras or harsh weather cameras. I don't own a ton of cameras. I suppose I could have shot this footage here, if you will, or these frames with my iPhone, but I didn't want to fool around with it. Okay, right off the get-go here, if you want, look, I started messing around with this stuff. I was thinking about this morning, 7-8 years ago, photographing, doing movie files, doing recordings, whatever have you, especially outside stuff. Like I say, I started messing around with this stuff 7-8 years ago, and right off the get-go, I ran into one problem right after the other, and you will too if you don't pay attention to me. Okay, if you're thinking about doing a lot of outdoor photography and stuff like that, when it comes to this wonderful technical digital world, you have got to get you a camera, an outside camera, or a harsh weather camera right off the get-go, and you need to go to all these. You're going to have to do your own research and whatnot have you, and pay particular attention to them specs, because most of these cameras have got a rating on what operating temperature that they can work in and blah, 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 and on, if they're shock-proof, waterproof, and stuff like that. I know. To give you an example, here about 5 years ago or so, I spent $1,200 on a JVC camcorder, hoping to get better imagery than I get now. I was up hunting. I went to boot up that camera. This is an absolute true story. I went to boot up that camera, and I got a boot screen that said, this camera the outside temperature is too cold for this camera to operate. And it was only 30 degrees, and that's not below zero, that's above zero. 30 degrees above zero, and that camera wouldn't work. I ended up giving that camera to my son because he wanted to do some web work with it and why not have you. But let me show you what I use here. Like I say, this file, I might have epic fail here because I'm using my webcam. But this is what I use, ladies and gentlemen. It's just this simple. Now, it's going to take a while for my autofocus to kick in. I hope you can see that. This is an Olympus top. It's a TG Model 820. It's an older all-weather camera, if you will. I hope you can see that. But it is shock-proof to about a 6-foot drop. It is waterproof to 33 feet below. And Olympus, by the way, they got all kinds of models out there, so you might want to take a look at Olympus's website. I'm not putting in a pitch for Olympus. It's just because I know that GoPro has got a camera out. I think they call it a Hero and all that. But the point of this video is, whatever you do, if you want to do outside stuff, you can trust me on this. You need to get an outside camera. That's the point of this whole video. I should just stop recording and shut up. But I'm just kidding you. Here's another little gizmo you might want to pay attention to. You see this stupid, goopy-looking little corrugated-looking thing? This is my tripod. This is what they call it. I'll wrap it around my arm here real quick to show you. This is what they call a Godzilla pod, okay? And a Godzilla pod, I said. And the reason why I use this is because you'd be surprised how, in the terrain that I work in, I literally wrap that tripod, if you will, around fence posts, barbed wire, you name it, rocks, and all kinds of stuff, because sometimes I do videos. Check out my other videos and you'll here on YouTube, and you'll catch right on. Sometimes I'm right in streams actually catching fish and all kinds of stuff. And I have taken this particular camera underwater. Okay. But like I say, this particular camera right here, this is just for information purposes. This is a TG820, okay? It does have a pretty nice, it is a 12 megapixel camera. There's you know, the screen on the back that I'm always trying to look through. Okay, that's enough of that camera right there. But there's one other thing I want to mention, besides the fact that you need to get, you know, a camera that's rated for outdoor use, and that's these SD cards. I don't care if it's a standard SD card or a micro card or whatever, but what will help you out more than anything is get one of these, whatever your camera takes, get one of these SanDisks. Let me stick this up here. One of these extreme jobbers. You see what I'm talking about? It's going to take a while for this to focus. Let's see if I can get that up there just right. This is a Class 10 card. This is a 4 gigabyte. I'm having trouble without even focusing. Come on, focus, baby, focus. Well, anyway, this thing's taking a while. This autofocus. Like I say, this is a bad idea. But the point being, whether you can see that or not, your recording capacity is one thing, the gigabytes and everything, but this little card, these cards I use they write at 30 megabits a second. It's a Class 10 card. It's an extreme card, and that'll help you out a lot, too, in cold weather and like that. So there are a few little tricks and tips to this, you know, harsh weather, harsh environment recording, but like I say, you need to get a camera that can take it. You need a camera that can take the cold, being dropped in water, being dropped off, you know, down on the rocks. I've actually got a video recording on YouTube where I had this camera right here, this Top Series Olympus. I had it set up on a rock, and I was fly fishing, and I snagged the camera with my fly rod and with my fly line and leader and jerked it right off the doggone rock. And then that drop was about a 3-foot drop too, and I thought for sure that this camera wouldn't survive, but it has. So the point of this video is, ladies and gentlemen, you know, no matter if it's an Olympus, a Sony, a Panasonic, or something, it needs to be in that tough series of cameras. You know, shock-proof, dust-proof, waterproof, and all that. Because if you just take a regular digital camera, I might as well just call them household cameras, and expect that kind of camera to record, if you will, in harsh environment conditions. You're just kidding yourself. I know. I've already been there. So you have to do your own research. It's been a few years since I've done any research. There's a lot of these cameras out there, but I just thought I'd tell you that. Get a fast, extreme SD card that you can record with, and the same with the doggone camera. Save you some money. Don't go down the same road I went down.